it's International Men's Day, and you know what that means. Yep, nothing. But luckily for us, MTV's Decoded are asking the real questions. Not in relation to International Men's Day, or even reality, but some weird issue that no one's bothered about. You know, for a change.
When you see two guys holding hands, what do you think is going on?
Gay?
Your answer will not surprise me. Look, there are lots of reasons to not hold hands.
Like because you're not gay?
Maybe you have a cold, maybe your palms are sweaty, maybe your fingers are coated in a slimy layer of Cheeto dust that you tried licking off but then turned into an orange paste that's stuck under your nails.
Yeah, a likely occurrence. Or maybe because you're not gay.
Been there. But there are a few totally bogus reasons that have straight cis dudes freaked out everywhere at the idea of physical contact with another man.
No, don't give me that. Most blokes will give a reaffirming pat on the shoulder. Footballers slap each other on the ass all the time. And don't get me started with punching each other in the face. It's still physical contact.
So we won't call it mansplaining, but I have found the perfect straight cis dude to help explain. Hey there, Kenny. Touched any dudes lately?
So many, Francesca.
You said he was the perfect straight cis dude, but let's face it, you just gave a homeless guy a haircut and a shower, didn't you? Perhaps offered him a cup of warm soup if he would read your shitty script.
Somehow, I'm still straight.
Well...
Look, showing affection, friendship, and familiarity through touch is perfectly normal. And it's actually instinctive.
Yeah, I can agree with that. When I moved out of my old flat, me and my mate, who I'd lived with for 10 years, shared a nice bro hug. It's the only time I've hugged him, actually. It was nice. And then I licked his neck.
One of our first impulses as dumb little babies is to hold stuff. It's so instinctive there's actually a name for it. It's the Palmer grasp reflex.
Oh, well, if babies do it, then we should all be holding hands and skipping down the street, shouldn't we?
It's a reaction in human babies and many other mammals, prompting them to grab an object, like a finger, in response to its touch.
Babies and monkeys. You're giving me babies and monkeys. That doesn't even... Ugh, carry on.
That's right. Even in a state where our skulls are mushy and we're liable to crap ourselves, we still understand that touch is natural.
But babies also put fucking everything in their mouths. That's instinctual and natural. Yeah, I don't see you shoving Tide Pods down your throat.
And it isn't always romantic, but at some point, middle school, non-sexual touch between men gets stigmatized. And a lot of it comes down to the absurd social norms we impose on young men called toxic masculinity.
Oh, for fuck's sake, are we not done with that bullshit term already? You blame everything on that, don't you? Don't like wearing pink? Toxic masculinity. Refuse to wear makeup? Toxic masculinity. Won't let another man suck your dick in a Tesco car park? Toxic masculinity.
And no, toxic masculinity is not a new energy drink.
You know, it's not often I use this word, but literally no one was thinking that.
But before we go any further, let's just point out that toxic masculinity doesn't mean that men are inherently bad or toxic.
Franny, will you stop femsplaining for one fucking video?
It's the idea that the cultural expectations and restrictions on what constitutes masculinity, or a real man, can be extremely damaging.
How? Everyone says this, but no one explains how. It's like the new flat earth conspiracy, isn't it? Whenever you ask how, the only answer you get is it just is, okay?
Toxic masculinity, because holding back your emotions requires energy.
Wow, starting to see how this guy ended up living on the street.
While not every man buys into these cultural expectations, almost every man in this country has been affected by them.
Again, how? Where's the data, Kenny? And what's wrong with cultural expectations? I mean, we're expected to not shit in the street. Where's the harm in that? Or would you walk up to someone curling out a steamer in the middle of the road and say, good for you, buddy? So brave.
Or when was the last time you just went up to your boy and you were like, yo, let's hold hands, motherfucker? He was like, hell yeah, my dude.
Never. Because that would be fucking weird, wouldn't it? Especially in a crowded pub, really affects your chances of picking up a girl, you know? No woman's gonna be sat there thinking, ooh, those guys are gay. I'm gonna have sex with them.
What's funny is that our reluctance to hold hands is because it's gay or feminine.
Well, yeah. And if you're not gay or feminine, it would make sense that you don't want to hold hands with another man, wouldn't it? I don't even want to hold hands with a girl. For some reason, they fucking love it, but it does piss off for me. Let me put my finger in your mouth instead.
And that assumes that there's something wrong with men being gay or feminine. There's not.
No, there's not. I don't know how you got from not wanting to hold hands to assuming there's something wrong with being gay or feminine. I mean, different people are uncomfortable doing different things, Kenny. Don't imply it's homophobic.
The idea that straight men holding hands is inherently gay reached a fever pitch not so long ago during the height of a boy band you might have heard of called One Direction.
Ugh, fucking One Direction. Look, here in the blessed West, holding hands is a sign of romantic affection. Unless it's with your child, in which case it's more of a safety measure. As long as it is your kid and not someone you just picked up in a playground, then it is frowned upon.
Two of the band's members, Louis Tomlinson and Harry Styles, were known for their close friendship. They were frequently photographed hugging, holding hands, and even kissing.
And even what? Do you mean like kissing on the what? Nah, man, no.
Fans obsessed over their connection to the point where a rumor started that the two might be in a romantic relationship.
Well, I rather think they did that to themselves, didn't they? I mean, who knew One Direction meant up the bum?
The thing is, despite the massive amount of shipping fan fiction that I'm sure was probably written, they were not romantically connected. They both said so many times.
But there is a saying that goes, actions speak louder than words. Like if some guy's adamant that he's not gay, but you walk in on him with another man hanging out the back of him, that nigga gay.
The thing is, fans wouldn't let up. They even created a name for this supposedly gay couple. Larry. Really, that's it? That is so basic.
Yeah, I don't think we can expect too much from fans of One Direction, but when Francesca Ramsey calls you basic, it must be true. I mean, she would know.
The band has since broken up, but in 2017, Louis Tomlinson confirmed that his friendship with Styles was changed by fans' insistence that their friendly affection made them gay.
Well, what do you expect? When they're walking around with their fingers in each other's assholes, people are gonna make assumptions.
He told 17 magazine, "It created this atmosphere between the two of us where everyone was looking into everything we did. It made everything a little bit more unapproachable."
And the moral of the story is, if you don't want people to think you're gay, don't do gay shit.
And I don't believe I'm gonna say this, but how dare you do that to One Direction? Directioners don't come for me.
Oh, what are they gonna do, Franny? Write fan fiction about you? Fucking lame-ass retards.
What might seem like an insensitive homophobic joke, "That's so gay," or "You guys are so gay for each other," is actually an insidious way of policing masculinity.
Normally, I would disagree with that, but for now, let's assume it is. Don't you think the friendship between those two kids from One Direction could have benefited from some masculinity policing? I mean, when that one kid said the atmosphere had changed between them, if only someone had taken them to one side and told them to stop fucking kissing, they'd still be firm friends, wouldn't they?
A study with over 19,000 participants at the University of Indiana showed that men who adhere to hypermasculine norms, such as the objectification of women, self-reliance, and repressing emotional expression.
Hold on, what's wrong with self-reliance? That's not toxic masculinity, that's being a fucking adult.
Typically suffer from mental health issues, and these include depression and increased suicidal thoughts.
Again, that's just being a fucking adult.
And that study doesn't even mention the poor guys that are bullied for not being hypermasculine. So let's be clear. Whether you adhere or not, toxic masculinity helps no one and makes us all sad and want to kill ourselves.
Oh, fuck off. Being made fun of teaches you to toughen up in the face of words and to be able to laugh at yourself. If you're gonna commit suicide over someone calling you gay, then I'd wager you were fucking close to the edge anyway. You just want a generation of girly men so you can feel better about your wiry little body, and you can grow that beard as much as you want, Kenny, but we all still see it. I mean, there are different types of people in the world, and that isn't a bad thing. It's funny how you only want diversity when it benefits you, isn't it?
Call me a radical, but maybe we should get rid of it?
How? Euthanize anyone with a visible bicep? Make gay sex a legal requirement every financial quarter? Go on, tell me how you're gonna stop people from being people, Kenny.
And this fear of holding hands is also pretty exclusively a Western phenomenon.
Samir Khalaf, a sociology professor in Lebanon, told the New York Times back in 2005 that holding hands is the warmest expression of affection between men in Arab culture.
So then fuck off there then. Just because some people do it in other cultures doesn't mean we should automatically be comfortable doing it here. For instance, should we be intolerant of homosexuality? Because that's how it's done in some parts of the world. And if we did adopt the practice of holding hands, wouldn't that be cultural appropriation, Franny? I thought that was a bad thing, but no, only when you decide it is.
It's a sign of solidarity and kinship. The same can be said for men in Latin American countries that often greet each other with a hug or a kiss on the cheek.
But aren't they also fucking huge on masculinity to the point that you would deem it toxic? I thought they were. Funny how you wouldn't mention that bit.
Or in India, where men are often seen walking down the street holding hands. Or even in Uganda, where men demonstrating platonic physical affection is normal, despite being a country with some of the harshest anti-LGBT laws in the African continent.
Yeah, everything the West does is patriarchy and toxic masculinity, whereas other cultures around the world are perfectly valid and good.
America, land of the free, except not really free for a man to hold another man's hand.
Because it means something different here, you douche canoe. It's a sign of romantic affection. If your husband saw you holding hands with another man, he wouldn't think, she's just doing as India does. Just because it means something different in other parts of the world doesn't mean we have to change it here. We have our own culture, Franny.
It's just this, guys. That's all it is. We're not really asking you to touch wieners here. Unless you want to, which of course is cool.
Do gay men do that? Last I heard, rubbing two sticks together is how you start a fire.
Besides, holding hands feels good. It actually prompts your body to generate oxytocin, a neurotransmitter associated with feelings of trust and generosity, aka things that make you happy.
Until you realize that dude is quite famous for not washing his hands after using the bathroom.
So if we know touch is good and strict masculine social norms are bad, what should us guys do to change it?
Nothing! And why are masculine social norms bad? No one sat down and wrote them out like they were a fucking law to be followed. Masculine social norms evolve naturally, and if they change, they will do so naturally, not because some cock in a beard told them to.
Well, here's some stuff. Start paying attention to when people are forcing their own ideas of gender onto you.
Coming from Decoded, that is fucking gold. Wow!
Reject that. Watch out for things like gendered colors, gendered toys, gendered sports, gendered careers, because all these things do is create very narrow spaces for people to explore and be themselves.
Yes, you must always let people be themselves. Unless Francesca and Kenny have found that person to be toxic, then they must stop being themselves.
In other words, pink is just a color. If you think it looks good on you, go for it.
Well, if it's just a color, then shut the fuck up about it.
And this kind of thinking is extra important if you're a parent.
Oh yeah, when you're trying to alter an entire culture to suit your own cock-headed needs, it's always best to start with how parents raise their kids. Just like any religion, you have to get them while they're young.
But if all of this sounds like a lot of work, there is one little thing you could do, the smallest of gestures.
Find another guy and hold his hand.
No! It would make both of us uncomfortable. It has a different meaning in Western culture, and above all else, I don't fucking want to. Stop trying to forcibly change people's perception, stop trying to shame people into accepting something otherwise they're homophobic, and stop trying to normalize shit that isn't normal. You aren't some bastion of purity and acceptance, MTV. You used to play music. So, there we go, guys. Another example of how the West has got it all wrong. Again. If only we could be like other cultures and have multiple wives, police to make sure we're staying virtuous, and public stonings. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron so making this video does more than raise my blood pressure. And check me out on BitChute, where you don't need to hold hands to be seen as gay. The links are in the description, and remember, next time you meet a hot girl in a bar, grab her tits and tell her it's what the French do.